tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Sober Saturdays. No. Sober Saturdays. Morning. Partially. It's morning somewhere. But not in Colorado. I did get up this morning though. Up earlier and earlier. I got up earlier yesterday than I did today, though. So maybe see, I don't wake up by alarm. Not that I don't hear it. I hear it. So maybe I need to set an alarm or something. I got to close the door here. Hold on. Closed enough. There's a cat in here. Cats hate closed doors. It doesn't matter what it's about. They just don't like closed doors. So, sad news today. Brad Arnold is his name, was the lead singer of Three Doors Down, has passed from cancer. I'm a big fan of Three Doors Down. I really like him so. Throwing some Three Doors Down today. Let's show some respect for the people that are not with us anymore. Yeah, makes me sad. So I only had time to put on one song. I put on Here Without You. Be blasting some Kryptonite today. Kryptonite has one of the best, one of the coolest drum beats from a 90s band. Aside from Chad Gracie, who was the drummer of Live. He's a great drummer, man. Anyway. Yeah. Bummer. See, now that these doors are closed, he wants out. Do you want out? You're a mess, dude. You're a mess. Go clean yourself up. Come here. Come here. So, this is Ronan. He is the runt. He looks a lot like, you guys see one other cat that I pet all the time. He doesn't come up and get on me much, although he's my lovey. But this, out of the 8 cats that I have, this is the only cat that I actually picked. This is the only cat I intentionally picked out there. Now, not all 8 cats in the house are mine. 6 of them are. Kids take care of 4 of them. I take care of the other 4. Yeah. So don't tell anybody, but this is my favorite. He's my favorite. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We love each other so much. You're going to bite me, aren't you? You are going to bite my face. Yes, you are. So, all right. I love you, but I got to do stuff. Are you going to give me some kisses? Yes. I love you too. All right. He only loves me because he's out of food. So, it's not true. My cats love the hell out of me. All right, I'll open the door. Come on. There you go. I was able to open the door back up because my wife got in the shower. She was listening to something. All right. Today, we're talking about the progression of alcoholism. Oh, I almost skipped Dion's Daily Funnies. I'm not prepared for it, though, because I was too busy talking about Brad Arnold. His name is not Brad Arnold. Why am I getting it all mixed up now? Okay. I'm not quite awake yet. All right. Reddit seems to have the best and the worst dad jokes, so let's go there. Um, man, my mind just went blank. I tried to do some clips yesterday. I don't know how good I am at them. I'm gonna have to do some practice in there. All right. People are saying they were okay, so that means that they're okay. They don't need to be okay. They need to be really good. So, well, they're just not going to stand out. See, now look. Oh, he left. Sawyer, look at me. All right. So there's Sawyer and there's Rona, and they look almost exactly alike. Almost exactly. It doesn't look like it right there, though. People get them mixed up all the time. He's a lot bigger. Sawyer's a lot bigger. Ronan is a small kitty. All right. I'm sure that's something that you really, really cared about. Put the camera back. Put the camera back where it belongs. After kissing my wife on the couch, she said, "Let's take this upstairs." Okay, I said, grab one end and I'll grab the other. Some jerk stole my thesaurus like a jerk. What a jerk. I'll tell you what I know about dwarves. Very little. What I know. Very little. Some of these are a little longer, so I'm just going to the ones that are quicker here. I recently switched the labels on my wife's spice rack. She hasn't noticed yet, but the thyme is cumin. But the thyme is cumin. Why couldn't the jalapeno factory? Why couldn't the jalapeno practice archery? Because it didn't have an arrow. It did not have an arrow. Yeah, it's hard to do archery when you don't have an arrow. All right. My wife left me saying that I'm very presumptuous about everything. I mean, she didn't go yet, but she's packing. The guy who stole my diary has died. My thoughts are with his family. All right. We're going to talk about the progression of the disease. I know so many people are so excited to learn about things like the progression of the disease. Such an exciting topic. I'm gonna say what Bo Nick said about a game earlier this season where we came back and beat the Giants 33-30. I feel bad for those that leave early. All right, headed to Conifer. Nice. You headed to the That's not by Conifer though. No. Okay, never mind. Conifer is a beautiful city. I hope you have a lot of fun up there. All right. So we're going to go to page 32. You probably hear this story a lot, right? Because the thing is the progression of the disease doesn't necessarily require alcohol. And we will get to that, right? Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. Otherwise known as the Podfather. You may call me the Podfather. The Great Poobah. You can call me that. As long as it's nice, right? As long as you're kind. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. It's funny because my sponsor's been getting a lot of a lot of your old jokes out of lately. Poor guy. All right, because now that we got the group started, so now there's like 6 people involved, and was just me and him. That then suddenly started working with other people and stuff. Now he's a great grand sponsor, and I don't think he really likes it. I think he does, but he doesn't. All right. So that'll be my next one. All right. So on page 32, we're going to start there. Um, actually, let's go back. All right. Let's go back to page 31 because this is part of the progression right here. Despite all we can say, many who are real alcoholics are not going to believe they are in that class. Here's one of the parts of the progression. Okay. Denial is part of the progression, right? He'll learn to like it. Yeah. Right. So are not going to believe they're in that class. By every form of self deception and experimentation, they will try and prove themselves exception to the rule, therefore, non alcoholic. Now, sometimes you'll work with somebody who's caught in the middle. They know they're alcoholic, but they can't seem to do much about it. Or they look for every form of self deception and experimentation to not have to go the route that we have presented. Yeah. We're with a guy right now who's kind of like that. He ain't got much time. Yeah, much time. He was supposed to send me a message that he went to detox. I have not heard from him. He continues to make all of his decisions, and he calls me when things are going wrong. All right. Not much. There's not much more I can do. I wish I could. You know, if anybody is showing inability to control his drinking, can do the right about face and drink like a gentleman, our hats are off to him. Heaven knows we have tried hard enough and long enough to drink like other people. Yeah, I've never met a person that's actually done this. I have not ever met a real alcoholic who turned around and did the right about face. Now, I've met plenty of people in Alcoholics Anonymous who had a drinking problem, not necessarily alcoholic. Maybe they got a DUI, and I've met a lot of people in AA like that. They are non alcoholic, but they are in AA because they got a DUI or got in trouble or something. Yes, there's a lot. Just because somebody got a DUI does not claim them to be an alcoholic. Maybe they made a mistake. My first wife was like that. She's not an alcoholic. She does not think like we do. Right? She doesn't. When I first met her, I thought she was probably an alcoholic, but who am I to deem anybody alcoholic, right? So, but in this case, I have never seen any person who is a real alcoholic turn around and do the right about face and drink like a gentleman. Never seen it. I know. Sorry, but that's the news. Here are some of the methods we have tried. I'm going to tell you now, I did not try many of these because I did not try and control my drinking. I did not care. I knew everybody knew I was an alcoholic. I just didn't fucking care. Here are some of the methods we have tried. This all makes sense to me, though. Drinking beer only, limiting the number of drinks, never drinking alone, never drinking in the morning, drinking only at home, never having it in the house, never drinking during business hours, drinking only at parties, switching from scotch to brandy, drinking only natural wines, agreeing to resign if ever drunk on the job, taking a trip, not taking a trip, swearing off forever, with and without a solemn oath, taking more physical exercise, reading inspirational books, going to health farms, sanitariums, accepting a voluntary commitment to asylums. We could increase the list ad infinitum. Ad infinitum means forever. The excuses will run out. Now, that wasn't really like that for me because, see, when you go into treatment when you're 16 years old and you already know you're an alcoholic, you don't do a lot of this stuff because you know it's of no use. You know it's not going to fix anything. So you don't do it. Now, there's the fallacy of the alcoholic thinking, though. Yes. I still fell into the trap thinking that I was the only one going through. Even though I knew better, my brain convinced me of that. Yep. See, self-knowledge is all right, but I've got to be at a certain place before I can apply it. Right? Like alcoholics, they read a lot of self-help books. But the problem is, self-help books are people who know how to help themselves. Okay? The big book is not a self-help book. It is not. It is a help yourself book. A big difference. We do not like to pronounce any individual as alcoholic, but you can quickly diagnose yourself. I'm going to skip over this because I don't agree with it. Though there is no way of proving it, we believe that early in our drink. I'm not going to tell people to go out and drink. Sorry, not going to do it. If they're going to drink, they're going to drink. If my words don't convince them, alcohol will do it, but I will not be the person that gives them permission to go drink again. What if they die that time? I'm not willing to take that. Yes, I know it's not on me. They're an alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. But they took my advice. And I feel kind of responsible for that. Right. Now, for you, if it's different, good on you. Good job. Maybe you work a little different. For me, though, I'm just letting people know you don't have to do that to people if you don't want to. I know a lot of people that won't do it. They just don't agree with it. It's all right. It's in the big book. Let them go read the big book. They can do that. There we go. Though there was no way of proving it, we believe that early in our drinking careers, most of us could have stopped drinking. Now, I did prove it. I did. When I was 18 years old, I quit drinking. Not a second thought. Not a second thought. Nope. Mm-mm. Now, earlier in my drinking career, I could have stopped for a little bit. I know Amber did that a little bit when she was younger. When you were younger, you were able to stave it off a little. At 45, no. No, it took me 4 years. I had to go back and redo the math. I thought it was 2 years. I went back and redid a lot of my math. 4 years. All right. We have heard of a few instances where people showed definite signs of alcoholism were able to stop for a long period uh, because of an overpowering desire to do so. Here is one. Now, here's the thing. Once I started drinking, it doesn't matter what age I was. Once I started drinking, I could not stop. That was the indicator. But when I was younger, it was easier for me to stay away from the alcohol. Especially at 18, I wasn't even legal age to drink. I was 3 years sober at the age of 21. 2.5 years sober. So here's one, and this is you probably heard this story several times. We're gonna dig into this story a little bit today. All right. A man of 30. Okay, this person is 30 years old, still pretty young. All right. Was doing a great deal of spree drinking. He was nervous in the mornings after these bouts and quieted himself with more liquor. See, even at 30, though, he was getting those shakes in the morning. That's not a good sign. Okay. Right there. There's your first indicator to the progression of the disease. He was at 30 years old and he was jittery in the morning. That is our first what I would call indicator. He was ambitious to succeed in business, but saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all. Okay. So now a sufficient substitute has come along to take away his drinking. Okay. Sometimes this can happen with people. Maybe you had a child, maybe you got married, maybe something happened and it delayed the drinking for a little bit because you were younger and were able to put it off for a little bit to later on in life to become more of a serious drinker. All right. So he saw he would get nowhere if he drank at all. Once he started, he had no control whatever. So he made up his mind that until he had been successful in business and had retired, he would not touch another drop. Wow. That's a pretty bold statement, but here's the challenge. Well, I see now he quit drinking, no problem, no worries, not a big deal, right? Well, an exceptional man, he remained bone dry for 25 years and retired at the age of 55. I am 55 years old. I'm 55. Okay, that's pretty quick. Retiring at 55. Of course, this was back in the 30s, folks, and we didn't live till 80, 90. Okay. 55 was the retirement age back then. Okay. I know. Makes you kind of sad, huh? Yeah, makes me kind of sad too. Anyway, so he stayed, and what did he say? Bone dry. Now, what happened here? What is this? It is a 25-year lurking notion. He spent 25 years thinking about how great life was going to be when he retired. He still thought about alcohol. Yes, he did. It's what we would call the carrot that you put in front of the horse to get it going. It was the carrot. Where was his mistake in this? Okay. Because here's the thing. Alcoholism is a progressive disease, whether you are drinking or not. Because alcohol is not the problem. Once I take away alcohol, what I have is ism. I have I, self, me. And that is the part that needs to be worked on. That was the problem. The alcohol wasn't the problem. He was the problem. And he failed to do anything about it. And that is why his alcoholism progressed. He was probably a dick. I bet people that work for, well, who knows? Who knows? I'm probably wrong on that, actually. He was probably a great boss. But he was happy because he knew that he was going to be able to get it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He didn't do anything about it. No. He failed to enlarge his spiritual life. So what happened? After a successful business career, then he fell victim to belief, which practically every alcoholic has, that his long period of sobriety and self-discipline had qualified him to drink as other men. That's what he thought. Now we get that, huh? Now what happened? What happened, man? So out came his carpet slippers and a bottle. In 2 months, he was in the hospital. 2 months. Not surprising to me. Now, what we also tend to think that is, if I quit drinking for 25 years, that my what's it called? We use it all the time. That if I quit drinking and I was able to drink a pint, my level for alcohol is not going to go down. It doesn't. Once you are at a level, God, why can't I think of the word? It would really help us out here. Tolerance. There we are. When we have a high tolerance to alcohol. Now, first of all, we were born within a high tolerance to alcohol. Number one. Okay. Well, beyond this, so my tolerance for alcohol, when you're an alcoholic, for anybody actually, once you get a certain amount of tolerance for alcohol, it does not go back down. It does not decrease at any point. Well, that's not true. It does decrease when your liver and kidneys are going, because it can't process the alcohol as fast. So if you're having to drink less to get drunk, this is not a good sign. That means you're about to die. That's what that actually means. So what happened? He failed to do anything about his alcoholism. His ism. I, self, me. And in 2 months, he was in the hospital. 2 months. What does that tell you? That when he was 30, he was only 2 months away from being in the hospital. Now, since his alcoholism had progressed, this also means that his chances for getting rid of the alcoholic have diminished. The older you get, the higher tolerance you have for alcohol, the harder it is. All right. In 2 months, he was in the hospital, puzzled and humiliated. He tried to regulate his drinking for a while, making several trips to the hospital meantime. Then, gathering all his forces, he attempted to stop altogether and found he could not. There we are. He couldn't do it. Like he did it at 30 though. Why come I can't do it anymore? Well, we've answered that question. Because you're not that person anymore. Every means of solving his problems which money could buy was at his disposal. Every attempt failed. Though a robust man at retirement, he went to pieces quickly and was dead in 4 years. 4 years. Because what happened? Those 25 years caught up to him in 2 months. Yep. Everything that he was going to experience in that time caught up to him. Now, if he would have gone to something like, let's say, AA or something like that, this may have been a little bit different, but it does not matter. Okay. You could even be going to AA and stuff, and you go back out, you're going to go to pieces quickly. And you're going to find that this time you're not able to just put down the hooch. Okay. So, alcoholism is a progressive disease. And unless you interrupt the isms, you will continue being the person that you're being. Yes. All right. This case contains a powerful lesson. Most of us have believed that if we remain sober for a long stretch, we could thereafter drinking normally. Now, I had 10 years of sobriety and went out. I knew all this. Did it crowd into my brain? No. My thought was, who isn't an alcoholic at 18? But what I had forgotten was I was living on Skid Row. Now, there's not all of that had to do with my alcoholism. Part of it had to do with the fact that I was young, didn't know what I was doing, and nobody in my family was willing to help me if I was still drinking. So, all right, but here is a man who at 55 years found he was just where he left off at 30. We have seen the truth demonstrated again and again. So something just occurred to me. So when I was younger and my parents did that, how were they treating? Well, they were treating me like, well, we've got to make sure the consequences. I was a child. And they treated me like an adult. That's exact. So when I went around acting like an adult, people are, well, you're not in a bullshit. I'm not. That was put upon me. It wasn't cool. All right. We have seen the truth demonstrated again and again. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. It doesn't go away. Commencing to drink after a period of sobriety, we are in short time as bad as ever. If we're planning to stop drinking, there must be no reservation of any kind, no lurking notion that someday we will be immune to alcohol. See, what did he add? He had a lurking notion. A lurking notion means if this happens, I can drink. If my daughter gets married, I can drink. If so and so passes away, I can drink. These are the conditions. These are the deals that we make with ourselves. And they're bad deals. You're going to lose. Doesn't matter what you think you're getting. It's going to turn you into an all-time loser. Like it did me. Like it did every other single person that tried to do it before you. All right. I've noted, maybe it's just because I'm older, that people that are younger, they are not listening to their elders. And if you don't listen to people that have done things before you, especially in AA, in the recovery field, then you are doomed to repeat it. And I'm watching a lot of people repeating it because alcoholics are undisciplined. They want what they want, period. Right? And we're stubborn, we're defiant. Now we think that we're moving along with the game when really we're just abusing the system for our own gain. We call that old behavior. All right. Young people may be encouraged by this man's experience to think they can stop as he did on their own willpower. Okay. Now when I was 18, yes, it did not take much. I just made a decision that I wasn't drinking. That was it. 40 to 45? Nope. Nope. Couldn't do it. Right? Was I just as much an alcoholic as I was then as 40? Yes. It just hadn't progressed. Okay? There are no levels. Once you're an alcoholic, there are no levels of alcoholism after that. Okay? There's the sober curious, there's the drinking problem, there's the problem drinker, then there's the alcoholic. And there are no more levels or different types. Okay? Stop creating the division. There are no different types of alcoholics. There's one. And even I push it sometimes a little bit saying, hopeless, helpless, chronic alcoholic, but that's all of us. That's every single person in AA. Well, I'm not chronic. Um, okay, maybe you hadn't done chronic things yet. That is fair, but it's coming. You can either believe me or go repeat it. So please believe us when we tell you it's not going to work. All right. We doubt that many of them can do it because none will really want to stop, and hardly one of them, because of the peculiar mental twist already acquired, will find he can win out. Several of our crowd, men of 30 or less, have been drinking only a few years, but they found themselves as helpless as those who have been drinking 20 years. Alcohol takes people differently. Women, it takes really fast. That's why women tend to be younger when they get. If I tell you now, if a woman is a little bit older and they come into the program, they didn't start drinking till they were about 30. That's what you'll hear them say. I didn't start drinking till I got older. It wasn't until this happened that I really started saying, because it takes them quicker. Okay. Just has to do with the physiology. Doesn't mean better than, less than. I think it's good because then they get here sooner. All right. To be gravely affected, one does not necessarily have to drink a long time nor take the quantity some of us have. This is particularly true of women. Potential female alcoholics often turn into the real thing and are gone beyond recall in a few years. Certain drinkers who would be greatly insulted if called alcoholics are astonished at their inability to stop. We who are familiar with The Simpsons see large numbers of potential alcoholics among young people everywhere, but try and get them to see it. All right. We're going to wrap up there. A couple of things I got to do, and I'm going to sponsor you here in about 15 minutes. So, thank you everybody for being here. Let's get in a good stretch. Ooh, good stretching. Stretch. A little bit cracking. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And keep on trudging.